Chapter 3 is financial decision making. An essential question is, what is involved in financial decision making? The objectives is differentiate between cash inflow and outflow and explain the steps in the decision making process. Here are some key terms. Some of them you should be familiar with, but by the end of the chapter, you should understand all of them. Here's a little situation. Alicia's senior year was a busy one with school events, ball games, and functions after another. Her activity schedule was a little too hectic. Her grades were beginning to slip, and her parents were not happy. In fact, Alicia and her parents were arguing all the time. Until recently, Alicia had been planning to stay home and attend a local university in the fall, but now she was rethinking those plans. After a recent, especially bad argument with her mother, Alicia promised herself that as soon as she graduated from high school, she would get an apartment of her own. Then she could do whatever she wanted, whenever she wanted to do it. Excited by this idea, Alicia began to gather some information. First, she considered her income. She earned about $300 a month waiting tables, not enough to live on. But if she were willing to work Friday and Saturday night, she could make another $80 per weekend night. Of course, this would mean giving up many social activities. Alicia then thought about getting loans to help out with college expenses. If she borrowed money, she could work a little less and still go out on the weekends. Sure, it would be a pain to pay back all the loans in a few years, but by that time she would have a good job, and it was a long time in the future. The next day, Alicia shared her thoughts with her friend Tiffany. Tiffany's face lit up. "Let's move in together and split the costs," Tiffany said. "I can't wait to get away from my parents too." Tiffany said her uncle could give them a full-time job at the hardware store. "I was sort of thinking about going to college," said Tiffany, but my uncle said he'd pay me $10 an hour. That's $350 a week. If I can make that kind of money, college can wait." At first, Alicia thought Tiffany's idea sounded great, but the more she thought about it, the more doubts she had. First, Tiffany was not the most reliable person, Alicia knew. She was not sure about sharing an apartment with her. While $350 a week sounded great, Alicia knew that taxes would reduce that amount by a bit. A nice apartment might cost $800 a month or more. Then there was telephone, cable, electricity, gas, food, a car, and putting off college. Was that a good decision? Alicia had lots to think about. Should she move out? If so, how could she pay for it? Should she work more, take out a loan, get a roommate, put off college so she can earn more money today? The dilemma facing Alicia is not unusual. We all face these kind of questions in some form or another, and the questions do not end. We'll face choices about our cash inflow and outflow for the rest of our lives. Having a solid method for making financial decisions and answering these questions can have a significant impact on our lives. At the heart of Alicia's dilemma are questions about cash flow. She faces choices about cash inflow, money that she receives from various sources, and cash outflow, money that she spends. So again, cash inflow is money received from various sources. Some types of sources would be wages. You work a certain number of hours, you get paid. A salary is when you get paid over a period of time. It might be tips. It might be commissions and so forth. That is money received. It might be an allowance. It might be lottery winnings. Your cash outflow then is money paid out or spent. There are lots of reasons why you spend money. Maybe you pay for rent, clothing, insurance, different things like that. Cash flows are important to each component of a financial plan. Each component of the plan reflects decisions about how you get or use cash. Like Alicia, you'll face many questions as you build your financial plan and make other financial decisions. These questions can be difficult to answer, and they can have effects that you might not anticipate or recognize for a long time. For example, Alicia's decision about moving out may affect her education, which could in turn affect her ability to save, invest, and plan for retirement. You see that the effects of this decision could send ripples throughout the rest of her life. If you take a look at this figure right here, how financial planning affects your cash flow, the central role of cash in a financial plan is shown right here. At the heart of financial plan is cash you have available, and then you decide what you're going to do with it. How do you get your cash? It is your inflow of money through your job or income. And with your income, you're going to decide your spending, what you're going to spend it on. When you look, money for personal finances down here, you have arrows going in and out. Some is going to be liquid, okay, so that you are ready for emergencies. You might buy some insurance. You might invest some. You might put some in retirement. If you need more cash, the cash coming in, you could be financing. Think about the key components of the financial plan. Each component of your plan also reflects decisions about how you get or use cash. Budgeting decisions determine how much of your income you spend on products and services and how much you have left over through your budgeting. How much you have left over is related to your plan to manage your liquidity. You have leftover money after you've paid your expenses. Now you have to figure out how much cash you have available and how much you want to rely on credit to meet your wants and your needs. Your available cash is also related to what and how much you finance, what you invest in, and so forth. Each stage of creating your financial plan, you will face a number of challenging decisions. So if you look at a plan for managing your income, some type of decisions, what expenses do you anticipate? How much money should you attempt to save each month? How much money must you save each month toward a specific purchase? Say, for example, you want to buy a new living room set or whatever, and you don't have the money. How much should you put there? What debt payments must you make each month? Do you have a car payment? Do you have a house payment? And so forth. Managing your liquidity, how much money should you maintain in your checking account along with your savings account? Should you use credit cards as a means of borrowing money? Financing, how much money can you borrow to purchase a car? Should you borrow money to purchase a car or should you lease it? How much money can you borrow to purchase a home? What type of mortgage loan would you take out? Protecting your assets and income, what type of insurance do you need? How much insurance do you need? Investing, how much money should you allocate towards investments? What types of investments should you consider? And how much risk do you want with those investments? Your retirement and nest date, how much money will you need for retirement? How much money do you need to save so you can retire at a specific time? And how will you allocate your estate to your heirs when you pass away? And communicating and keeping records. Where will you store your records? Where do you intend to keep your backup files? And who needs to be made aware of this information?